We're kicking off the show with NFL price check. So let's take a look at Week 7 salaries, starting with quarterbacks. Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes are at the top of the board at 8,500, 8,400 respectively. So Pearce, do you want to pay up for one of those guys, or looking a little further down the board here?
Those guys are in some great spots, but I'm going to go to the bottom of the board with Matt Ryan at 5,700. Not on a lot of people's radar. Coming off a bye week, and the week before that, he played in London. He got off to a slow start this season. Remember, that first game of the year, they had not played at all in the preseason. The first team had not played together, and they looked like it. They were terrible. But in his last 4 games, he's averaging almost 300 yards per game. He's got 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Looked great in his last outing, and he gets a really nice matchup against a Miami secondary that has been terrible. They've got some big-name cornerbacks, but they're all banged up. They struggled against Tom Brady, giving up 400 yards. They struggled against Trevor Lawrence, giving up 300 yards. Matt Ryan should be able to torch this defense.
All right, Reid, where are you going at QB?
Yeah, Pearce, I'm glad you brought up that game because we'll get to it in a little bit. I love it. I'm going Jalen Hurts at the top. I think against the Raiders, what you can do is, and the defense that they play, right, is don't give up the big play. Let everything happen beneath them. Jalen Hurts is a guy that we know his average DK fantasy points per game is very high, right? It's a high floor. So I do like him there. And a second one, too. This was kind of what we were talking about pre-show with the hot takes. How about a little Jared Goff, guys? I know Jared Goff has been, well, not great. He hasn't been great, but he's so cheap here. You got the revenge game narrative. I don't think that matters much. We got Dan Campbell saying, hey, you got to step it up. But what we've seen from a guy like Jared Goff is that in these bigger games with bigger totals, and we know that they're going to be passing a ton, he could get you, I don't know, 3x his price, which is $5,000, so 15. I know you might not win a GPP with that, but he's someone that I'm kind of interested in trying to play and be a little bit contrarian. He's so cheap.
All right, Matt, who are you going with?
Pearce and I are laughing at Reid's answer for different reasons because I think I actually like Jared Goff even more than Reid does. This is a week where there are some good value quarterbacks. I think Lamar Jackson's underpriced. I think Carr versus Hurts is a good matchup. I think Matt Ryan versus the Dolphins, both sides of that game, maybe even Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. Like, I think that there's enough value that people overlook the Rams-Lions game because the spread for this game is massive. It's at 15 or 16 points right now. And the other part of this is that if you play Goff, you're going to have one of the only lineups that can actually afford Cooper Kupp on the other side, who's priced up to 8,400. So we'll get there at receiver. But I think Goff at 5K, like that's actually legitimate value, where I think he should be $1,000 higher than that. And they're going to be throwing all game. I don't know how much I'm buying into the revenge. It could be a factor in the play calling. Maybe it's not. But either way, this is a really low price for a quarterback who's playing against a defense that actually has been pretty much average this year. The Rams are great because of their offense, not their defense this year. So Reid and I are on the same page.
That's right, Pearce.